Kylian Mbappe outplayed Cristiano Ronaldo. The Portuguese explained why the Frenchman is keen to play for Real Madrid. Donnarumma lost the fight and now wants to return to Milan after being sidelined by Afanov. But not to AC Milan, but to Inter Milan. We haven't seen such betrayal in a long time. Pep Guardiola has found a way to fix Manchester City. The club is buying a superstar to replace Rodri, and a new Paris Saint-Germain forward who's supposed to replace Mbappe and Colomoni. We're discussing this and more today. Friends, this is a dose of football and a hot selection of the most interesting news at this hour. Be bunnies and charge your royal like. 5,000 fingers up. New video today, tomorrow. Well, I wish you a pleasant appetite and a pleasant viewing. Recently, the name Serge Conseisao has been appearing on the tables of prominent European clubs. We recently talked about the possible interest of West Ham in the Portuguese coach. The Hammers' leadership is still examining potential replacements for Halanova future. The Spaniard's future remains under question, as his team continues to flounder at the bottom of the tournament table, despite European Cup ambitions. Nevertheless, it periodically delivers such matches that give hope to the club directors, as in the single game against Manchester United. But if they don't hurry, Sergio Conseisao's candidacy will cease to exist for them. After all, the Portuguese coach is also claimed by his West Ham colleague, unfortunately, Liverpool's Everton. The RISAK management is also inclined to dismiss their coach, thanks to Sean Dyche for once saving the team from relegation. However, he was no longer enough. Everton is just 5 points away from the relegation zone. This, of course, worries the leadership. Conseisao will be called upon to end the eternal struggle for survival and return the team to positions in the upper half of the table. But this is just another option for the future Portuguese coach. His career, of course, can continue in the English Championship. But at the same time, Conseisao has a chance to go to work in the German Bundesliga. The unexpected failure of this season in the face of RB Leipzig sees him as a replacement for Marco Rose. Despite a good, well-rounded lineup, the Bulls are still failing in this Champions League draw. Just think that such a team couldn't score a single point in 5 rounds and has already practically lost the chance to make it to the playoffs. Even their Austrian brothers managed to earn 4 points, leaving the fans with at least some hope. But Leipzig is a complete failure. Champions League failures have shaken the team's confidence, and it hit the results on the domestic front. In the last round of the Bundesliga, the Bulls from Leipzig received 5 painful bites from the Wolves of Wolfsburg on their home field. Before facing Frankfurt, Leipzig had gone 6 matches without a win. And this only confirms my words about the psychological problems of the Leipzig team. I don't know how long the German coach will last at the helm of Leipzig. A few setbacks in the Bundesliga could force his departure. In my opinion, Serge Conseisao might cut short his creative break to work at the helm of such an interesting team. Still, the Red Bull gang has the potential to fight for the German championship, and the Portuguese has already shown that he can instill a champion's character in his subordinates. Joan Laporta is gearing up for another round. This time, the president is preparing to take such a step for the registration of Dani Olmo. For now, the Spaniard is only in Barcelona's squad due to an injury to Andres Christensen, whose recovery time has unexpectedly increased from a couple of weeks to half a year. But as soon as the winter transfer window starts and Christensen formally recovers, Dani Olmo is again removed from the application. The question of the Spaniard's registration was supposed to be resolved by a sponsorship contract with Nike, but the deal does not provide for one-time large payments. Barca will receive the bonus amount gradually, but the money is needed here and now to put an end to the financial fair play problems once and for all. But Joan Laporta wouldn't be himself if he didn't find a way to raise more money. Right now, he has a deal on the table that should cover all the club's financial problems and return Barcelona to a 1-to-1 rule. It's a deal for the sale of very important person lodges. Some unnamed businessman, if you believe Sport publication, is ready to shell out 20 million euros to secure the best seats at Camp Nou for the next 20 years. At the same time, Joan Laporta didn't invent the bicycle. Other European giants have already done so. For example, Barcelona's principal competitor only allowed entry to the lodge for 50,000 and even asked for some amount for the place itself. There are as many as 300 sources of income at the renovated Real Stadium. So, calculate what kind of economy results from this. However, it seems Joan Laporta chose the simpler path. The president of Barcelona has found a company that agrees to buy all the seats at once as a long-term investment. After all, the rights to the income from the sale of seats will remain with the investors for 20 years. This brings a decent profit if Barcelona maintains the same rates as its competitor. She just needs the money right now. And if you have to sacrifice such a sweet income structure, you won't be able to write anything off. Still, Joan Laporta will have to pull some lever. So why not make a big score? It's just a shame that Barcelona will lose revenue in the future for a momentary gain. But we have to thank the former club president who plunged this very club into such debts. At least Joan Laporta is not throwing money around left and right, and he doesn't mess around with financial machinations. At least we don't know about any such cases yet. Unexpectedly, it became clear that Manchester City had slipped into a generational change. In particular, it was unexpected for Pep Guardiola, who last summer said that there was no need to dilute the squad with extra players, but rather to play with a well-drilled team. But Rodri's injury exposed City's defensive vulnerabilities. No one could replace the Spaniard. Kovacic and Gundogan are footballers of a different profile. They both strive more. To destructive functions are not included in their potential. In general, it is now clear that some positions need to be complemented. The Highlanders plan to enter the transfer market this winter. Luckily, money isn't an issue. The number one goal remains footballer Bruno Guimaraes. Pep Guardiola personally wants him on the team. They once had a conversation after a match, and the Catalan praised Guimaraes for his ability to control the pace of the game. Well, if Guardiola himself has paid compliments, there's nothing you can do about it. They will have to let go of their dispatcher, and at his market price, which, by the way, is 85 million euros. Considering the length of the contract and the importance of the player, the citizens will have to overpay if the management wants to get the Brazilian already in January. Or there is another option. To avoid spending a record amount, Man City can offer one of their own players. It notes that as part of the compensation, the citizens could include Matheus Nunes in the deal. A year earlier, Manchester City had valued this footballer. 60 million euros were transferred to Wolverhampton. However, the footballer failed to live up to his price tag. Even his market value has fallen by 20%. This means a big discount from his inclusion. The deal may not offer a significant discount, but the swap could benefit both clubs. The citizens save some money on Guimaraes' transfer. Newcastle will earn a substantial amount and ease financial regulator pressure while temporarily closing the gap with Man City players. Barcelona recently announced that it is ready to sell Frenkie de Jong for 20 million euros in this winter transfer window. If a buyer can't be found at this price, the club will let him leave for free when the season ends. This decision is due to changes in personnel policy. Anti-Flica has two promising defenders, Marc Bernal and Marc Casada. Pedri, Gavi, and Dani Olmo are already on the team. Given the competitive landscape, retaining de Jong at his high salary appears unreasonable. Despite not wanting to leave a club where he has a stable financial position, de Jong may change his stance if he sees a worthy offer. The possibility of a free transfer opens the way for negotiations with other clubs, which can offer the player a high salary. Manchester United's interest in the Dutch player has decreased after Erik ten Hag's departure, despite their long-standing pursuit. Another English club, Tottenham, has garnered attention instead. Coach Ange Postecoglou highly appreciates de Jong's abilities, especially his ability to control the ball, as well as the accuracy of his passes and versatility. Tottenham is actively seeking reinforcement in the midfield, and the Dutchman could become a key acquisition. Sky Sports analysis confirms that de Jong fits well with the team's style. Pay attention to your screens. Compatibility is rated at 81 out of 100, which is one of the best indicators. In addition, Tottenham's ready to provide the player with enough playing time, which is important for a footballer. An alternative option could be Bavaria, which even more closely matches de Jong's playing profile. However, Munich has high competition, and regular field appearances are only possible with squad changes. Bavaria is expected to overhaul their squad this summer, but it's still unknown whether the club is interested in the Dutch candidate. The de Jong situation continues to develop, and a lot will depend on the offers that come in the next few months. The Dutchman may switch clubs as early as January. At least it would have been the ideal scenario for Joan Laporta. He would have both earned money and removed a heavy expense from his budget. I feel sorry for Randal Colomwani. The Frenchman conflicted with Eintracht for a promotion. In Orlov, Randal was the main star, with everything going through him. Colomwani thought that he could become one of the key players in Paris Saint-Germain too, but harsh reality shattered all his illusions. Luis Enrique does not see Colomwani as a 10 or even any other attacking player. He almost always sets on the flank, while limiting the space with a brawl and forbids moving to the center. Plus, Randal admitted to struggling with psychological difficulties. The player was too soft and not ready for the pressure. Funny, but the French press mercilessly criticizes both the footballer and Luis Enrique for their failure to cooperate. Colomwani even had to see a psychologist. The forward has gained confidence, resulting in successful performances for the national team. But things are still not working out at Paris Saint-Germain, and this tells us that the issue is with the tactics. Of course, one can try to wait until Enrique is fired. But where is the guarantee that Luis will be fired in the near future? It's best for Colomwani to depart the team in the winter transfer window. The data shows the club intends to sell the footballer to fund the star forward's transfer. Rumors suggest Enrique is voicing concerns about the squad to management. But in public, it's different. The coach answered ambiguously to the question about transfers. I've often told you that we're always open to improving the squad. But if we're not sure that the squad will be improved, we won't make such a transfer. What about the players who get little time? The winter transfer window is difficult, both on entry and exit. All cases must be analyzed. The club is considering buying Victor Osimhen. This is despite Enrique's dislike for classic forwards. Nasser Al-Khelaifi might personally insist on Osimhen's transfer, as was the case with Colomwani, no matter how the exchange turned out to be a soap for a rope. I think the situation will differ slightly. I keep thinking. Osimhen has enough class and skills in the game to become important, and even an indispensable player in the Parisian team. Julen Lopetegui underwent a very unpleasant transformation during his coaching career. Real Madrid fans, remember how Julen led the club? They took a lot of risks back then and played very aggressively. Julen experimented a lot and probably even deserved his dismissal back then. Barras simply ignored the injuries of key players like Marcelo, Dani Carvajal, Gareth Bale, Isco, and others in Lopetegui's system. That dismissal upset Julen, and gradually he began to mistrust Jose Mourinho. West Ham's season has been desperate, with their struggles being excessive and overdone. To hell with the result, it doesn't even represent anything interesting in thought. Add a spot here in the second half of the table, with the best lineup in the club's history, and you'll understand why they're about to fire Lopetegui. But that's not the only thing. It says that Lopetegui has had a falling out with many of the team's players. We're discussing a major rift in the locker room. At the start of the season, Lopetegui informed Art Prowse he would be vice captain. After a few weeks, he announced the Englishman was not in the club's future plans. The breakup was shocking. Everyone treated James not even with respect, but with reverence. During the Arsenal match halftime, Jean-Claire Todibo and Lopetegui were involved in a scuffle. Todibo informed the coach that urgent changes are necessary. Lopetegui publicly criticized the player in front of the entire team. In the end, team captain Jared Bowen had to intervene and tell Todibo to be quiet. Now Jean-Claire is threatening to leave the club if Lopetegui is not fired. He is training independently. Two main options exist for replacement in Eastham. The club has already contacted Graham Potter and found out that the Englishman really wants to lead the team. Michael Carrick is also a candidate. He is also interested. The option with Potter, of course, is preferable. Graham usually plays as the first number, and West Ham United is used to playing on the counterattack. But to be fair, there are so many technical players in the lineup in all lines that you can play both through and possession. But seriously, Bournemouth can, but why can't West Ham? In short, we are waiting for the Wizards' return to London. Luis Enrique is lining up the goalkeepers. When the team has to fight against pressing, they prefer to put Safonov in. When they need a master on the ribbon, they choose Donnarumma. This makes sense in a way. On the other hand, give me one example when this type of plan helped the team. I'm referring to the goalkeeper's position specifically. Pochettino of Passenger also tried to play with two goalkeepers, but he realized that it was a stupid idea. Donnarumma believes he deserves an unquestionable spot in the starting lineup and becomes furious when Enrique favors Safonov. Meanwhile, Gigio behaves adequately. When he learned Safonov would play against Bavaria, he was unhappy, but still helped Matvey prepare for the match. According to Lego Seta dello Sport, Donnarumma is now uncertain about continuing to play for Paris Saint-Germain. The competition with Safonov is the root cause, according to a highly reliable source, despite the unexpected revelation. Who could have imagined that Safonov would really challenge Donnarumma and the team and even the club, and that he would impose competition in the shortest terms? Yes, I assumed that Mbappé would have chances thanks to playing with his feet. Everything is bad with Gigio. Almost nowhere to get worse. For Enrique, this is nearly the most crucial skill for a goalkeeper. However, I would still bet that Safonov will be benched by Donnarumma for another season before the season begins. He will prove himself in a few matches before moving to an average team. Inter, Manchester City, Liverpool, and Bavaria are pursuing Gianluigi. Why Gigi needs with Kauser? It's a riddle of the level of Jack Fresco. Kelleher occasionally underperforms, but next season, Alisson and Mamardashvili will play for Liverpool. In Bavaria, they are looking for a replacement for Manu Neuer. After all, the German will soon retire. City is planning a reshuffle, and Ederson is under threat. Due to his footwork, Donnarumma is unlikely to be chosen as a replacement. Inter, according to the source, is most interested as Joan Sommer is about to end his career. I can imagine how the red residents of Milan will explode if Donnarumma moves to the Blue Milan club. And the Rossoneri fans already hate Kipera. And what will happen after his transfer to the sworn rival, it's even hard to imagine. Cristiano Ronaldo also cautioned Kylian Mbappe about the challenges at Real Madrid. The Portuguese, speaking on his YouTube channel, was not sure that after Mbappe's transfer, Madrid would become stronger. And he added that Real is not Paris Saint-Germain, and Kylian might not be able to withstand such pressure. Ronaldo predicted Donatello's failure, likely because he knew firsthand the difficulty of settling in Madrid. It may be hard to believe now that Grisha had any difficulties, considering his incredible start at the club. French national team legend Emmanuel Petit believes that Mbappe will be alone in Madrid, and therefore he will never find his game. Mbappe is alone in Real. I saw that Jude Bellingham ignores him, and it doesn't seem like he has any help or friends in the club. He was a king in France, but now it's not the same. He has become public enemy number one in France because of what happened during the last break in the national team match. At Real, of course, they were initially delighted with the transfer of Mbappe. Of course, such a player. Mbappe was expected to score goals and win matches. But so far, Kylian is stamping nothing but offsides and penalty misses. As Releva asserts, the club is trying to support the Frenchman and restore his confidence, but in the locker room, doubts about the future are growing. He is losing his reputation while Mbappe shines in training, showing his former class. But as soon as he steps on the field, like by the wave of a magic wand, he turns from a star into a pole. Carlo Ancelotti's confidence in the players is waning. Look, they're about to send Mbappe to the bench, and he already has psychological problems. All of this strongly reminds me of the Eden Hazard situation. Only Bill Gates lost form and confidence due to injuries, and Kylian, it seems, just cracked under pressure. And that's all for today. Thanks for watching and for subscribing to the channel. My name is Kirill Cass, and this was your daily dose of football. Peace to your house in Johanga, friends.